The Neo-Babylonian Empire, also known as the Chaldean Empire, was a period of Mesopotamian history which lasted from the late 7th century BCE to the mid-6th century BCE. It succeeded the Neo-Assyrian Empire and was notable for its advancements in architecture, culture, and administration. Among the many figures and events that define this era, Nebuchadnezzar II stands out as one of the most significant. His reign saw the remarkable rebuilding of Babylon and consequential interactions with the Israelites, which had lasting impacts on the region's history. Nebuchadnezzar II. Nebuchadnezzar II, reigned 605 to 562 BCE, was the greatest king of the Neo-Babylonian Empire. He is perhaps best known for his military conquests and extensive building projects, which elevated Babylon to unprecedented levels of grandeur and influence. Early life and ascension. Nebuchadnezzar II was the eldest son of Nabopolassar, the founder of the Neo-Babylonian Empire. Nabopolassar had led a successful revolt against the Assyrian Empire and established an independent Babylonian state. Nebuchadnezzar's early life was marked by military training and participation in his father's campaigns, gaining valuable experience that would later help him expand and secure the empire. In 605 BCE, Nebuchadnezzar led the Babylonian army to victory against the Egyptians at the Battle of Carchemish. This victory not only solidified Babylonian control over Syria and Palestine but also marked the beginning of Nebuchadnezzar's reign. Shortly after the battle, Nabopolassar died, and Nebuchadnezzar returned to Babylon to assume the throne. Military campaigns. Nebuchadnezzar II's military campaigns were crucial in establishing the Neo-Babylonian Empire as a dominant force in the ancient Near East. He conducted numerous military expeditions to secure and expand Babylonian territory. One of his primary goals was to maintain control over the lucrative trade routes in the Levant and to subdue any rebellious states. In 597 BCE, he captured Jerusalem, deposed King Jehoiakim of Judah, and installed Zedekiah as a puppet ruler. However, Zedekiah eventually rebelled against Babylonian rule, prompting Nebuchadnezzar to besiege Jerusalem again in 586 BCE. This time, the city was destroyed, the Temple of Solomon was razed, and a significant portion of the population was exiled to Babylon. These events marked the beginning of the Babylonian captivity, a significant period in Jewish history. The rebuilding of Babylon. Nebuchadnezzar II's reign is renowned for the extensive building projects he undertook, transforming Babylon into one of the most splendid cities of the ancient world. His architectural endeavors were driven by a desire to showcase the power and glory of his empire. The Ishtar Gate. One of the most iconic structures from Nebuchadnezzar's time is the Ishtar Gate. This grand gate was part of the walls of Babylon and served as the ceremonial entrance to the city. It was adorned with glazed brick reliefs of dragons and bulls, symbolizing the gods Marduk and Adad, respectively. The vibrant blue bricks and intricate designs made the Ishtar Gate a marvel of ancient architecture. The Hanging Gardens. The Hanging Gardens of Babylon are one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world, attributed to Nebuchadnezzar II. Although their existence remains a subject of debate among historians, ancient sources describe them as a series of tiered gardens filled with a variety of trees, shrubs, and vines. According to legend, Nebuchadnezzar built the gardens to please his wife Amytis, who longed for the green hills of her homeland, Media. Whether myth or reality, the Hanging Gardens symbolize the grandeur and luxury of Nebuchadnezzar's Babylon. The Ziggurat of Etemenanke. Nebuchadnezzar II also undertook the restoration of the Etemenanke, a massive ziggurat dedicated to Marduk, the chief deity of Babylon. The ziggurat, believed to have inspired the biblical Tower of Babel, was an immense structure that dominated the city's skyline. It consisted of several terrace levels, each smaller than the one below, culminating in a temple at the top. The Etemenanke was not only a religious center but also a symbol of Babylonian technological prowess and architectural innovation. The Processional Way. The Processional Way was a grand avenue that led through the Ishtar Gate to the Esagila temple complex, dedicated to Marduk. This road was lined with walls decorated with lions, symbolizing the goddess Ishtar, and was used during the New Year festival when statues of the gods were paraded through the city. The Processional Way and its associated structures exemplified the ceremonial grandeur of Babylon and Nebuchadnezzar's commitment to enhancing the city's religious and cultural significance. Interactions with the Israelites. Nebuchadnezzar II's interactions with the Israelites were marked by conquest, exile, and eventual integration into Babylonian society. These events had profound effects on the history and culture of the Jewish people. The Siege of Jerusalem. The first significant interaction between Nebuchadnezzar and the Israelites occurred in 597 BCE when he besieged Jerusalem. The city surrendered, and King Jehoiakim, along with many nobles and skilled workers, was taken captive to Babylon. Nebuchadnezzar installed Zedekiah as king of Judah, expecting him to be a loyal vassal. However, Zedekiah's rebellion in 586 BCE led to a more severe response from Nebuchadnezzar. After a prolonged siege, Jerusalem was captured, the temple was destroyed, and much of the population was exiled to Babylon. This event, known as the Babylonian captivity, had a lasting impact on Jewish identity and religious practices. The Babylonian captivity. The Babylonian captivity, lasting from 586 BCE to 538 BCE, was a period of profound transformation for the Jewish people. In Babylon, the exiles were able to maintain their distinct identity and religious traditions, despite being far from their homeland. The experience of exile led to significant developments in Jewish theology, including the emphasis on monotheism and the compilation of important religious texts. Nebuchadnezzar's policy towards the exiles was relatively lenient compared to other ancient rulers. The Jews were allowed to settle in Babylonian cities, engage in trade, and even rise to positions of influence. This period of captivity also facilitated cultural and intellectual exchanges between the Babylonians and the Israelites. The return to Jerusalem. The end of the Babylonian captivity came with the rise of the Persian Empire under Cyrus the Great. In 539 BCE, Cyrus conquered Babylon and issued a decree allowing the Jewish exiles to return to their homeland and rebuild the temple in Jerusalem. This event, known as the Edict of Cyrus, marked the beginning of the Second Temple period in Jewish history. The return to Jerusalem and the rebuilding of the temple were seen as a fulfillment of prophetic promises and a sign of divine favor. The experience of exile and return profoundly influenced Jewish religious thought and literature, including the books of Daniel, Ezra, and Nehemiah. Cultural and religious impact. Nebuchadnezzar II's reign had a significant cultural and religious impact on the ancient Near East. His patronage of the arts, architecture, and religion left a lasting legacy that influenced subsequent generations. Babylonian religion and culture. Nebuchadnezzar was a devout worshipper of Marduk and other Babylonian deities. His extensive building projects, including the reconstruction of temples and ziggurats, were acts of piety and political propaganda. By restoring and embellishing these religious sites, Nebuchadnezzar sought to legitimize his rule and demonstrate his devotion to the gods. Babylonian culture flourished under Nebuchadnezzar, with advancements in astronomy, mathematics, and literature. The Babylonian priests made significant contributions to the field of astronomy, including the development of a lunar calendar and the recording of astronomical observations. These achievements had a lasting impact on the scientific traditions of the ancient world. Influence on Jewish thought. The Babylonian captivity was a formative period for Jewish religious thought and practice. During their time in Babylon, the Jewish exiles adapted to their new environment while maintaining their distinct identity. This period saw the compilation and preservation of important religious texts, including parts of the Hebrew Bible. The experience of exile reinforced the Jewish belief in a covenant with God and the hope for eventual restoration. Prophets like Ezekiel and Daniel provided spiritual guidance and visions of a future where the Jewish people would be restored to their homeland. These prophetic messages offered hope and resilience during a time of great upheaval. Legacy of Nebuchadnezzar II. Nebuchadnezzar II's legacy is a complex blend of military prowess, architectural achievements, and cultural influence. His reign marked the zenith of the Neo-Babylonian Empire and left an indelible mark on the history of the ancient Near East. While his conquests brought suffering and destruction to many, including the Israelites, Nebuchadnezzar's policies also facilitated cultural exchange and integration. The Babylonian captivity, though a period of hardship, ultimately contributed to the development of Jewish religious identity and thought. Nebuchadnezzar's architectural and cultural contributions transformed Babylon into one of the most magnificent cities of the ancient world. His ambitious building projects, such as the Ishtar Gate and the Hanging Gardens, became symbols of Babylonian splendor and ingenuity. The city of Babylon, under Nebuchadnezzar's rule, became a center of power, culture, and learning that influenced subsequent civilizations. In conclusion, Nebuchadnezzar II and the Neo-Babylonian Empire played a pivotal role in the history of the ancient Near East. Through his military conquests, architectural achievements, and interactions with the Israelites, Nebuchadnezzar II left a lasting legacy. His reign represents a period of cultural flourishing and significant hardship for conquered peoples. The rebuilding of Babylon under his direction not only displayed the empire's power but also showcased the advanced skills in art, architecture, and urban planning of the Babylonians. The decline and fall of the Neo-Babylonian Empire. Despite the grandeur and achievements under Nebuchadnezzar II, the Neo-Babylonian Empire did not last long after his death. Following Nebuchadnezzar's death in 562 BCE, the empire faced internal strife and weak leadership. His immediate successor, Amel-Marduk, evil Merodach, ruled briefly and was followed by a series of short-reigning kings, including Neriglissar and Labashi-Marduk. The instability culminated with the rise of Nabonidus, whose reign from 556 BCE to 539 BCE marked the final years of the empire. Nabonidus's reign was marked by religious and political controversy. He attempted to elevate the moon god Sin over the traditional worship of Marduk, leading to conflict with the powerful priesthood in Babylon. His extended absence from Babylon, due to his campaigns and long sojourn in the Arabian oasis of Tama, weakened his control over the empire and alienated many of his subjects. The fall of Babylon. The final blow to the Neo-Babylonian Empire came with the rise of the Persian Empire under Cyrus the Great. In 539 BCE, Cyrus's army captured Babylon with little resistance, as the Babylonian forces were either poorly managed or supportive of the change in leadership due to Nabonidus's unpopular policies. The fall of Babylon marked the end of the Neo-Babylonian Empire and the beginning of Persian dominance in the region. Cyrus's conquest was notable for his relatively humane treatment of the conquered peoples. He allowed the exiled communities, including the Jews, to return to their homelands and restore their religious practices. This policy not only helped to stabilize the newly acquired territories but also secured the loyalty of the subjugated populations. Legacy of the Neo-Babylonian Empire. The Neo-Babylonian Empire's legacy is multifaceted, reflecting its military achievements, cultural contributions, and lasting impact on subsequent civilizations. Architectural and cultural contributions. The architectural achievements of Nebuchadnezzar II, particularly the rebuilding of Babylon, left an enduring legacy. Structures like the Ishtar Gate and the Etemenanke Ziggurat exemplified the advanced engineering and artistic capabilities of the Babylonians. These structures influenced later architectural styles and became symbols of the empire's grandeur. Babylonian contributions to astronomy, mathematics, and literature continued to influence later cultures, including the Greeks and Persians. The preservation and transmission of Babylonian scientific knowledge played a crucial role in the development of Western scientific traditions. Impact on Jewish history and religion. The Babylonian captivity was a defining moment in Jewish history. The experience of exile and the subsequent return to Jerusalem under Persian rule had profound effects on Jewish religious identity and practice. The period of captivity led to the compilation of significant portions of the Hebrew Bible and the development of Jewish theological concepts, such as monotheism and the covenantal relationship with God. The prophetic literature that emerged during and after the exile provided spiritual guidance and hope for the Jewish people. Figures like Ezekiel and Daniel offered visions of restoration and divine intervention, reinforcing the resilience and faith of the Jewish community. Historical significance. The Neo-Babylonian Empire represents a brief but influential period in the history of the ancient Near East. Under Nebuchadnezzar II, Babylon reached its zenith as a center of power, culture, and innovation. Despite its eventual fall to the Persians, the legacy of the Neo-Babylonian Empire continued to shape the region's cultural and historical development. The empire's interactions with the Israelites, particularly the Babylonian captivity, had lasting religious and cultural repercussions. The rebuilding of Babylon and the architectural marvels of the period remain symbols of human ingenuity and the capability to create lasting cultural monuments. In summary, the Neo-Babylonian Empire, under the leadership of Nebuchadnezzar II, stands out as a period of remarkable achievements and significant historical impact. The empire's contributions to architecture, culture, and religious thought continue to be recognized as pivotal in the broader tapestry of ancient Near Eastern history.